Are you able to see black screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So therefore, I think we are done with Motional EMF. Uh, so now we will see. I think we are done with this. So Motional electromotive force by Faraday's law. So now we will see this. The same derivation, whatever we obtained, that is BVL. Now we will also. So I think we did not verify with this Faraday's law, and that's what we have. For example, say you have say some. What I want to say is this. Okay. Say you have some. This is your North Pole, okay, and you have some South Pole. Okay, something like South Pole you have, and you have now study magnetic induction like this. Okay, you have some study magnetic induction. Okay, now in this scenario, if you put a conductor like this, some conductor, this is your conductor, okay, and this is your magnetic induction. This is your B. Now, how EMF will be induced within this conductor? That is what we checked, right? And what's the answer we obtained there? The induced EMF, what did we get there? Induced EMF, we obtained what? A BVL, right? Yes or not? Where L is length of the rod. We got this one, right? Yes or not? Already we proved it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now we will do the same using Faraday's law. So you just take, I mean, whatever this from North Pole to South Pole, there is magnetic induction in the magnetic field. So I'm just showing that by putting this South Pole, I mean this arrangement into the board. So therefore you have magnetic induction D into the board, something like this. This is your B. Okay, now say you have your conductor all the way. Initially, say our conductor is here. Okay. Your conductor is this, and this conductor is having length L. Okay. Length L. Say this is your MN conductor. Now, what we will do is that whenever conductor is cutting the magnetic lines, or whenever the magnetic lines cut the conductor, so you have, that means it's a relative action, okay? Whether conductor cuts magnetic field or magnetic fields cut conductor, EMF must induce. So therefore, when I just move this, let me move this conductor. I'm moving this guy. So when I move this conductor something like this towards, say, right, I'm moving this fellow with some speed. Now what I do, let me cut this. Okay. So I moved my conductor like this to this extent. Now what happened here? Now anyone, what happened now? If I do so, now I observe this one, okay? So this conductor, it swapped some area. This conductor swapped some area, and now you're seeing here, right? So now through this area, magnetic lines of forces are passing through, or we could say that conductor is cutting the magnetic lines of forces. Yes or not? Or simply there is a magnetic flux linkage and that's changing with this movement. Okay, so now of course he is moving something like this. He is moving this way. Now what we can say is that, say the conductor, this is a position, say some m. This is some position n. From position m to n, conductor is moving by swapping this area. So can I say that he is moving like this? So the distance The distance he moved is this one. Is say, can I say he is moving with this distance vdt? So in dt time, conductor from here, conductor from here, we move this conductor to this position in dt time with some speed, say or velocity whatever. Okay, so therefore it's very simple, right? We know already velocity is equal to distance by time. So distance is equal to, say, vdt. So we could say that this distance is now this v multiplied by time dt. We are moving this from m to n positions. Okay, now what is the length of the rod here? L. So therefore what is the swapped area? What is the swapped area here?
LVDT, sir.
Yes, LVDT. This is what the swapped area. So that area, see, this is the complete magnetic induction, but we are only in this portion. So therefore, what we will do now, the swapped area we will take for ds. We will take for ds. This is the swapped area. So ds is equal to LVDT. All right. So now I know very well that what I know is. What I know is this one I can say. So d phi is equal to b ds. Okay, or I can say d phi is equal to, what is my b? My ds is equal to lv dt, and my b is b. Okay, so end of the day, what we require? We require d phi by dt. So what is your d phi by dt now? bvl. And this d phi by dt is nothing but what? Induced EMF. So induced EMF is equal to, finally we obtain the same result, dVL, right? It's very easy, right? This is the way you can understand the same principle like this. This is very simple. This is how you have to verify Faraday's law with this. See, that means, so this is my area. This is my area, swapped area, otherwise LVDT. Now I know this is my flux. This is my flux linkage. Within this area, this is my flux linkage. So therefore, that flux linkage, we know that is d phi. So this flux linkage is equal to what? This area multiplied by the area what we are seeing. That's multiplied by this fellow, this b. I have regular area. Directly I can multiply these two. ds multiplied by b. We have some random area. Then should exercise integration stuff and all these things. So I have the flexibility of directly taking the area ds multiplied by b. So ds, you plug in that, you get this answer. So it's as simple as this. Now the implications of the equivalent circuit we can observe like this. For example, you see motional EMF. Yeah, EMF is induced. EMF induced in the rod because of the motion of the rod. When the rod is in motion, EMF is induced in the rod. So therefore, we are saying motional EMF. Okay. So motional EMF, because see, when the rod is not moved, if you don't move the rod, then what happens? Related to this, either magnetic field should move or change, or rod should move. Any one must happen. If that is the case, definitely EMF must induce. So motional EMF as an equivalent battery. As an equivalent battery, this is a simple idea, the same idea what we have that we are showing now. Already we know this. So you have something like this. You have a direction of magnetic induction in the magnetic field is into the board. Okay, again same thing like this we have. And now I have this conductor. Okay, I have my conductor like this. Now what I'll do, I'm just moving my conductor. Just moving my conductor like this with some velocity v. Okay, now the length of the conductor is given to you already. This is L. This is given to you. So this guy is moving with v like this. So now what happens is that, say, okay, say this is like m, this is like m. So these two ends. Now, yeah, you take your right hand palm. You take your right hand palm. Okay, this is your right hand. You take your right hand palm like this, okay? So along the thumb, along your right hand thumb, this is V. And along these fingers, you have, along these fingers, you have, this is my B along fingers, okay? I have B. Now you tell me in which direction we have positive potential, in which direction we have positive potential. Hmm? In which direction do we have positive potential on conducting rod?
It's M,
Yes?
M, sir.
Yeah, very good. In the SE, in the direction of that, or at the position of M, we can associate a positive potential like this. So let me take another color. Yeah, so here I have positivity. Okay, that means if you go down, you must have negative potential like this. So therefore, your four fingers into the board and your right hand thumb is along this V, then the normal to your face of the palm is towards M. So therefore you have positive here and a negative here we have. So now with this clarity, I can, because see and also this point is important. Every conductor, every practical conductor will have resistivity, non-zero resistivity. That means I can say there is some resistance with every conductor, okay? So therefore, bearing these things in mind, so I can redraw this equivalent circuit like this. See, this is my M, this is my N, say. So between M and N, I can show my induced EMF. So I must have near M towards M, I must have positive potential, negative potential towards N. And as it's a practical conductor, it exhibits a resistance. So therefore, I must take some R like this. Okay. So this is just an equivalent circuit. So now this is like EMN, induced EMF across this MN is nothing but B, that is this B, the magnetic induction B. So B multiplied by, it's moving with some V, this V multiplied by the length of the conductor, that is dVn. And there are many important things in field theory. For example, you have some source like this, some source, say V, and you have some passive components, some load like this, you have some load in, okay, and you have some connecting wires. So if this quantity is closed, then you'll be having some loop current, okay, this loop current will be having. But now in this case, what we simply say is that I is equal to V over load. Okay, if load is resistive, directly we can take V over load as V over R. This is very simple. But in this situation, we are not considering the dimension, otherwise we are not considering the space. So in circuit theory, you will not take the space into consideration, okay? Space in this case means length of the cables connecting from one terminal to the load and again other terminal to the load. So we are not taking that space into consideration. So we are simply taking I is equal to V by R, okay? But if you go to field theory, this space also we will take into account, okay? So these things are also important. And this you will learn in transmission lines in third year. How? Because on a line, on a given line like this, if you have two lines on a given line like this, you can show voltage waveform, okay, something this way, or current waveform. Okay, I can show some current waveform, something like this. That means at each and every point, I'll have different voltages and currents. What we think here, whatever voltage we have here, we have same voltage here, same voltage here, same voltage here, and same voltage here, okay? But this is not true with your field theory. This is just an approximation. But in reality, if you increase the length of the cable, see, because you have alternating voltage, okay? If you have alternating voltage like this, at this point of the cable, voltage is zero. At this point of the cable, voltage is maximum. At this point of the cable, voltage is again minimum. At this point of the cable, voltage, that means voltage is varying along the length of the conductor. So you'll learn something called as transit time concept. In third year, you'll understand how we can, when we can include the length of the cables or space into consideration. When can we ignore the space or the length of the cables? In circuit theory, we will ignore the transit time concept, okay? So that we're ignoring this length of the cables, directly we're finding all these things. So that's the interest of taking here EMN, okay? I'm taking this, the length of the cable, the length is defined in terms of M and N, therefore to be EMN. So there are much more things to learn. It will never end here. It will keep on go like that. The problem is we cannot cover everything in 1 hour or some 60 hours like that. So anyways, we need to advance a little bit fast because what is our intention is that we have to spend some good time on units number 3 and 4. Sorry, 4 and 5. So now when I complete this unit number 3, 4 and 5 I will just mix. I will teach both 4 and 5 in one run, okay? So I don't segregate 4 and 5. Say you have some conducting rails, okay? I'll just show you how to draw equivalent circuits from the setup like this. Okay? So you have some setup. You have 3 conducting rails, okay? So on which, say, on these 3 conducting rails, you have some a wire, a conducting wire. Say you have some wire, a conductor which is a conductor, and say you have say one more wire like this. Okay. So what is our motivation here is this one. So intention is that, say for example, you have some magnetic induction like this, some magnetic induction into the board. So into the board, okay. So you have 3 conducting rails. So you have 3 conducting rails. Say they are, let me give some, I'll give some, I'm labeling M and P. Say 3 means M and P rails you have. And also you have 2 wires, okay. So you have 2 wires. So when I said 2, okay, let me give something like 2 means some PQ comma RS, 2 wires. So this is Mr. This is like P, this is a P, this is some Q. I'm labeling them, just I'm labeling this. So I have 2 wires like this. Now these 2 sliding wires, so these 2 wires are sliding on these 3 conducting rails. Okay. So these 2 sliding wires are sliding on these 3 conducting rails M and P. Now say in this scenario you're given like this. So it's given that, so this is connected to across R1 and this RS is connected, or this resistor, say I'll take R2, this is connected across N and P conducting rails, this is say R2, and R3 is connected across. See, in circuit theory we can take like this, some bending. We are not taking the length of the cable into circuit theory, but if you go to field theory you can't take like this. The length will definitely matters, okay. If you're taking some length, You have to pay for it. That's it. So you will learn interesting things in your next, in a third year. So that's very important for GATE examination as well. Serious preparing students, focus and everything. Okay. So now this is let me take dark green. So this is my length, say L1, and the distance between conducting rails and NP is say L2. Now say this fellow is moving like this. So this wire is moving this with velocity say V1, and RS is moving like this towards left with velocity V2. Now can you draw its equivalent circuit? Equivalent circuit of the cell, like this, of the above setup. Can you draw this? Anyone? Anyone? Any idea how to draw this? Now you tell me. You take this conductor PQ. Okay. Let me take my conductor PQ like this. This is say my PQ. This is a P. This is Q. So he is moving like this. Okay. He is moving V1 like this, and magnetic induction is into the board B. Okay. Now you tell me where would be the positive potential at P or Q?
P,
P.
sir.
Obviously, you take your right hand, you put your four fingers into the board that is towards B. That's what B. Right thumb along V1. So you would find positive potential here, and negative potential here. That means what I can do is this. So I like to remove all the stuff. Okay, so let me redraw this way. So I want to show this PQ now. So that PQ positivity, positive I have to show here, and negative here. Okay. So now every practical conductor will exhibit some resistance. So therefore it has some R. So this is some R1. Okay. And now again the same thing here. Okay. Now what you do, you have RS conductor here, right? RS wire. Now, where do you find the positive potential, at S or R?
S, sir.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, yes, that's true. Okay, because if you take your right hand, you take your right hand like this. Mm, Take your right hand. Your right hand is this. Okay, so this guy, this thumb is along V2, and this is this B. Okay, this B. Now the face of the palm, the face of your right palm is, it's downward. So therefore, anything, the normal is like this. Okay. So here I have positivity. So therefore, if you go up like this, here you have negative. So therefore, I have positive here and negative like this. So let's remove that. So now what I do, so I take here RS. So I have negative potential, or I can connect R here. Okay, it's up to you. Anything doesn't, this or doesn't matter for you. So negative potential towards R, okay, and positive potential towards S. So I just talk like this. Now from M to N, this is my M, right? From M to S, this is my S now. Okay, you have some resistor. This is say R3. This is some R3. So internal resistance is, say, this is this connector is having internal resistance R2. This is having internal resistance R1. Resistance R3 passive is this, and across PS, across this is my P. Okay, this is my P. So across this, let me take here P. Okay, across this P to Q. Of course, here also you have Q. So P to Q you have R1. And now this Q R S, see, both are same. This Q or this R, both must be same. So therefore I can take either Q or R. So therefore from here to here you have. So its equivalent electrical circuit is something like this. So now you are comfortable how to show these things. Okay, now this EMF, whatever, so this is like EPQ. So EPQ is equal to what here? B V1, length of the conductor is L1. Okay, this length is L1 now. Now in this case, what is this what you have, ERS or ESR, whatever you want, you can take, no problem. So you have V2, L2. Okay, so this guy is this length. So that's it. So this is what the intention. Okay. So very important observations are these things. Now, now one important thing. Okay, I think work is going on outside. Uh, Now we will take. I don't think your syllabus is it's in detail. Your syllabus is a very simple syllabus, but I just thought to cover this, so I'm covering this. Okay, so your syllabus doesn't demand these things. EMF induced, because one should know these things. It doesn't matter. EMF induced in a rotating conductor in a rotating conductor, say in the uniform magnetic field, in the uniform magnetic field. Yeah. For example, what do I do? Let me take a conductor. Not a conductor. Before I take conductor, let me take direction of magnetic induction again to the board. We are taking into the board because this convention becomes simple for the analysis, nothing else. You can take towards right or towards left or outside or outward direction, but inward direction we feel very comfortable. Okay, so this is my B. Now what do I do? This is my, say, conductor. Let me take my one conductor, say I'll take it here. Let me take it here. Okay. Let me show you. Okay. This is my conductor. Okay. Now what I do? Let me make it neat. Okay. Again, this the length of the conductor is L. Okay, this is L. Now what happens is that, see, the conductor is rotating. You have a rotating conductor in the uniform magnetic field. So what I do? Let me take 2 points. Okay, this point is M. This end is N. I have two ends, M and N respectively. Now, what we do is this: we fix this where M is axis of rotation. So M is axis of rotation. So therefore, so with this clarity, we will rotate like this, anti-clockwise. Okay. So now it's very difficult to get this figure. This figure will take a great time. You think it's approximately a circle? So because the length L of the conductor is not changing, so you have say uniform motion like this, uniform circular motion. Okay. It is almost a circle, but it's a very bad circle we have. No satisfaction. Even this turned out to be a worst circle, but still you have to assume it's a circle. Okay, it's taking a circular motion like that. Now, what we can say is that this is a uniform conducting rod. So whatever rod you have, I have uniform conducting. I have uniform conducting rod Mn of length L rotating in a plane, rotating in a plane perpendicular to the direction. I'm just writing for you to the direction of the uniform magnetic field, say of the uniform magnetic field. Now at an angular, this is an important point, okay? At an angular speed, we will take a variable omega, okay? So when something, if you are moving somewhere in circular motion, so it's obviously to take, it's decent to take angular speed than linear speed. So I think you have two concepts. I think in your physics you might have learned this in your first year, maybe angular speed and the linear speed. We can also associate link between angular speed and linear speed. If I take my linear speed as v, if I assume linear speed equal to v, okay, if linear speed equal to v, then the relation between linear speed v and angular speed w, I mean omega, is what, anyone?
V equal to R omega.
V is equal to r omega. Here r is equal to what? L,
L,
right?
sir.
Here r equal to L, so you get V is equal to L omega. So this is very simple. If you're not understanding this, I can just show it for you. If there are students like me who don't understand things in first run, it's for them. Okay. So let me go to the slide. Say this is a 3. Let's make things clear so that we don't have any doubts. Okay. So let me take a quick circle. Okay, I have to select this. What happened? Did I select anything? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm using black color now. That's the problem here. I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong. Okay. Say you have a circle. All right. This is my center of the circle. Suppose a particle is moving. Okay, a particle is taking some journey. He's somewhere here. This particle want to move like this, so anti-clockwise. Now this is my radius, okay? So this is my radius. This particle is taking a radius r from the center. This is my radius now. This guy is moving like this, and say it reached here, somewhere here, okay? So now what we do is that, so for example, at time, this is my time, at time t equal to 0, suppose I'm here now, okay? I'm somewhere here. Now when time progresses, now I just traverse along this circumference of circle, okay? Say by the time, when the particle is here, say the time t is now greater than 0. Okay, now in this due course, so this particle has covered a distance, okay, distance you can take according to your intermediate. I'm just showing you, okay, this convention is very famous in the intermediate textbook. So distance, say yes, we say like this. Now you tell me what is linear speed of the particle now. If I ask you average linear speed, okay, say later we can omit the word average, but if I ask you simply the average linear speed of the object, so this is my object or particle, whatever, okay, is equal to what? Say it is v. So v is equal to what here? V is equal to what? Average linear speed. Okay, you have some curve like this, right? So this is this curvature. So in linearity, what I do, I just make it a straight like this. Okay. So anyways, I have covered the distance. Yes, initially I'm here. Now I'm here. This is my displacement now. So now what I can say is that in time t, I move from here to here. So therefore I can say s by t. Yes or not? This is a general idea. Okay. Now, if I ask you what is angular speed, then what do you say? If I ask you what is angular speed, then what do you say? What do you say now, angular speed, if I ask you? This is my say, I'm moving like this with angular speed. Okay, and I'll show like this. This is omega, angular speed. That means, say, you're taking some theta journey, example. Okay, I can select this here. Let theta be the angular, let theta be the angle swept. You can write like this. Angle swept out by the object. Okay, in certain period of time, and in a period of time, you can say, or in that period of time, you can say, in that period of time where you have linear movement, okay, in that period of time, then what must be angular speed now? Then what must be angular speed here? Anyone? Angular speed equal to what now? Let angular speed equal to omega. Omega is equal to what here? Yes? If linear speed is equal to s by t, then what must be angular speed?
R theta, sir.
No, angular speed I'm asking. No, just compare with this. If linear speed,
V by R.
no, don't.
Theta by t.
Theta by t. Just don't go with this. You just go for theta by t. Generally, what we take average, we will take delta theta by delta t, all these things. But we are taking a whole quantity here, theta and t. We're just taking like that. So just compare with this. So you have v is equal to distance. Okay. This is what linear distance we are saying, linear distance by time. And now you have angular distance. This theta is equal to, say, we can say angular distance like this theta. So theta by t, okay? Because speed is equal to anyways distance over time. Now this theta is equal to what here? Angle swept out by the object in the period. This is angular distance, okay? So that's it, you have theta by t. Okay, now what I can say? Now what is this arc length here?
R theta, sir.
Very good. So this arc length is equal to, we have r theta. So therefore this is my s, right? Anyways, so arc length s equal to, because this arc became this straight line, we stretched out and it became a straight line like this. So s equal to simply this r, radius r, and you go from here to here. You go from here to here. You have to take to reach here, you have to traverse this angular distance theta, okay? So therefore it is r multiplied by theta, s equal to, you have r theta. Now what I can do is that I know v is equal to linear speed equal to s by t. Now you plug in what you plug in now, s equal to r theta. So you have r theta by t, okay? Now this is nothing but theta by t, or this is nothing but r theta by t, whatever. So v is equal to, now I have r. What is theta by t? Theta by t is equal to
Omega.
omega. So V is equal to R omega. So linear speed is equal to the radius of that circle. If you have a uniform circular motion, then it is highly valid, okay? So this is that circle's radius r multiplied by the angular speed omega. So this is, please, so we should not by heart anything. If you have fundamentals, there is no requirement of by hearting things. So that's what the intention again. Okay, anyways. So let's go to the previous picture. Where are my other pictures? Okay. So we are here now, okay? So I need this page again. So open with paint again. So I'm here. Let me remove this. Now, EMF induced in a rotating conductor in the uniform magnetic field, okay? Now you can say that, now just compare with that, you have the radius L here, okay? Radius L, and this guy is moving with some angular speed. He's rotating with respect to this M, okay? Where M is what? Axis of rotation. This M is axis of rotation. So I'm just rotating this way. Say, let me take an angular velocity omega, or angular speed I can say as omega. Okay. Now in this course of rotation, with respect to the axis of rotation M, now can we say that this conductor's motion will cut, the conductor motion will cut the magnetic lines of forces? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. So in that situation, definitely EMF will be induced within this conductor. And you can use your right hand palm rule, and now you can see that this M is at higher potential. Yes or not? You take your right hand. Okay, you take your right hand again. I'm just using right hand palm rule. Okay. Now along this thumb, what do you take? Along this thumb, what do you take? You can take linear speed. Okay, this can be V here, and you have B like this. Now, how is the normal to the palm? How is the normal to the palm? The normal to the palm is towards left side, right? So here you must have positive potential. That means at M there will be positive potential, and at M there will be negative potential. Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, we have to confirm this. Once you confirm this, now induced EMF, finding induced EMF is very simple. Now we are trying to find induced EMF in general case, and also we try to find induced EMF using Faraday's law. That's very simple, okay? So now what I do, I just want to find induced EMF in this conducting rod, because it's moving, okay, in general case. So now for that to happen, I do this, okay? So from this end M, okay, or from this edge, otherwise, let me travel x units. Let me travel x units from this edge. Okay, now at this x, so let me take an element. Let me take an element, say dx. So this is my dx. Okay, my dx is this. Now this is what an element, a small element of wire you have taken. This Mn is a big wire and dx is a very small element out of it. Okay. Now we can associate linear speed like this. So now you are moving, okay? When you are rotating, let me rotate this small piece now. So I'm rotating a small piece. I'm rotating this small dx. So as of now, what I'm doing here, I'm rotating my dx now. Okay. So now this dx element will experience say, let me, which color I can take here? All colors are looking awkward now. So really, it's I have edit colors. Anything we have? Any interesting color we can take? Okay. So now this is also looking same. All are pale colors. Okay. Anyways, this is my V. Okay, I can take, this is my V. Yes or not? I can take linear speed V. What is V now? V is equal to what here?
X.
Very good. V is equal to x omega. Because now my radius of circle is x, not this L. I took element dx with radius x. Okay. So that is because the small element also will rotate with the same angular speed. This big L also will rotate at same angular speed. So therefore, I'm taking again omega here. That's the intention, nothing else. So that is the case. If V is equal to x omega, so let's put it down like this. So we are deducing things, okay? Uh, uh, what I do now is uh, okay. So now I have this. So I have V is equal to x omega, where x is radius of a small circle on which, I mean, along which you have dx is moving, okay? So that's what you have. Now you tell me, if I take this small element dx, let me take the small element dx like this. So this is my dx. Okay. Now again, you put your right hand palm rule. So how is V now? How is V? So V is like this, okay? V is equal to x omega. So V is like this. And how is B? How is B here?
Inverse.
B into the board, okay, or inwards, whatever. Now you tell me how would be the positive potential towards left or right?
Left, sir.
Left, right. So obviously this is my positive potential and this must be my negative potential. Now this CHO2 dx fellow, because of this I can say you have CHO2 induced EMF. This is what my DG. Because I have positive potential here, negative potential here. So within that element dx, because of the rotation of dx, in the course of rotation of dx, this dx is cutting these magnetic lines of forces, or we can say magnetic flux is changing now because of the rotation of dx. So therefore I can say this dg emf is induced within the element dx. Okay, and the polarity is here positive or negative here. Now you just tell me one simple point. Now with this clarity, you have complete length with n, m and n. This is a complete length of this conducting rod. This is my L. Now you just tell me like this. So I can take a dx here. Okay, I can also take dx here. I can also take dx here. I can take dx here. As such, not I can take dx anywhere. So that means every time I can take velocity of this v. Linear speed will change, right? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because x is changing.
Surrounding changes.
Yeah, because but omega is omega only. All CHO2 elements will rotate at same angular speed, but linear speed must change because x is changing. This x is varying now. So now everywhere you have the v, corresponding v I can take. It's rotating, okay? So therefore this guy, now this is my v is like this and b is like this. So always you see left side as positive, right side as negative. If I take this small element, the small element, the small element belongs to what? This polarity. If I take this one, this element, if I take, again I have positivity here, negativity here, so therefore again I take this like this. If I take this element now, I have again positive towards left, negative towards right. So on, I have like this. Are you able to experience this? And this is what really happening now. So now, individually you have all Ds. So DE1, DE2, DE3, DE4, so on, DE, so on. Say DEN, where N is very big. N is now say very big. If I add all these things, now what you get?
E, sir.
Yeah, you will get total induced EMF E. That's it. So therefore, it's not possible to add each and every element. So therefore, what we have to do, we have to integrate this. Okay, and that's the motivation.
Integrate over length.
Yeah, so if you integrate this guy, so you will get the beauty. So now you tell me, if I take this element, this particular element, okay, dx, I mean this element dx, what is the induced EMF in this, in that dE? I mean,
Sir, B omega x dx, sir.
So omega dx.
okay, so I will write in general case, generally what do you have here? You have EMF induced is equal to V
Yes.
and also L, okay? So I take same B, I have this B and I have this V, so I take this V. Now what is L here? Yeah, the L is here dx, very good. So the L is dx, so therefore I have to take the entire length now and of the conductor, so therefore I just want to go for total induced EMF. This is elemental induced EMF. Now, see, your syllabus is not demanding all this stuff, but I just told you because you should not really have this, I mean, problem. Okay. I don't know about other sections, but our section students should not struggle with concepts. That's the only intention, nothing else. If you have these very basics, you can do anything. That's it. Remaining all. So total induced EMF. See, as of now, we are not seeing our induced EMF as time varying. Okay, so we are seeing our induced EMF as just like say like DC induced EMF. But you see, you will very soon you will see induced EMF is also a time varying induced EMF that you will see later. So total induced EMF across the length across M and M. Okay, the length M to M. Okay, that's it. The ends you have M and N is what I can take now. EMN is equal to integration of dE. Okay, so I have integration d is equal to I have b. Okay, this is dx. Sorry. So I have v dx. So as x is variable, the limits must run for the values of x. Now this is my x, right? So I took x like this, right? But x is varying from where to where?
0 to L, sir.
Yeah, x is varying from 0 to L. So therefore, x is equal to 0 to L dv dx. So I can simply, yeah. Now what is, can I put something else here? V is equal to, we have x omega.
Yes,
so yeah.
Requested.
Okay, so x equal to 0 to L, and this guy V is equal to x omega. You have dx. So in the integrand, you have these two as constants. So let me remove that from the integrand. So the integrand b omega came out. You have x dx. Okay. So integration of x dx is what? X squared by 2, and this is 0 to L. So you get half b omega L square. Sir, not the total induced EMF is half b omega L square. It's not only dependent on the length L of the conductor, but also dependent on this omega. But in this case, you can understand something. What is that? If you're a straight conductor, if it is not rotating, you have to just satisfy with only BVL, okay? But if it is rotating, you are now squaring it. Yes or not? You are squaring the L. When you are squaring the L, that means induced EMF is getting high. Yes or not? But of course, you are doing this half, of course. So this factor is, but this factor will dominate this half many times. Okay, if L is greater than 1, so definitely this factor will dominate half. So you can appreciate good EMF induced in this case. Okay, and also it is proportional to the angular speed. If you rotate this conductor with high angular speed, you can enjoy high induced EMF. Are you able to understand these things?
Yes, sir.
Rotation, just rotate fast. If you rotate fast, in less time dt, you will cover more magnetic flux. So more magnetic flux will change in less time. So therefore, more EMF will be induced. This is very important, man. So just please don't only think that if conductor or magnetic fields, if they move relatively, okay, so then EMF will be induced and that's it. So please don't only think that. If you move your conductor very fast, or if you change that magnetic flux very fast in less time, okay, so definitely, see, how can you say you have high power? You are doing, some guy is doing some work, say um, I'm thinking not to go to your physics, but situations are demanding sometimes. Go to early physics and uh, anyways. So, for example, there is a candidate. Okay, there is some candidate. You tell me, he is doing some work in some time. Okay, and this is what your work done per time is, what generally
Power.
power. Very good. So this is what power in general. It's a basic form for power. Now, if the time is decreasing, okay, if he is doing same work in less time, what happens? We can say he's having high power, okay. Otherwise, if you're doing more work in this time, of course you're doing it means you have high power, okay. Similarly, what's happening here is that the conductor is there. If this guy is rotating to some extent like this within some time dt, it is having some, therefore some EMF will be induced now, okay. Now in the same dt time, if, see, initially is here, right? If he is somewhere here now in the same dt time, if he is somewhere here now, what happens here? Induced EMF is high now. So, and that's the matter. So please, these basics you must have. I think you have very good basics. So therefore, please don't miss this Chotu fundamentals. They're very important. Anyways, the same thing we will do in Faraday's law, and we'll close the issue today. Uh, Faraday's law will not take much time. It's okay. Mm, so every time drawing this circle is difficult for us. So this time, what we will do, we will draw a ready-made circle. You have direction of magnetic induction is again into the board. So direction of magnetic induction in the magnetic field is into the board. Okay. Now, before I draw anything, let me take a circle. Let me take a green circle. Drawing every time is not that simple. So therefore, I took a green circle like this, and what I do, now I go for this. Now I draw the conductor. Okay, and that's it. So this is rotating. So you have angular speed, okay, like this. Angular speed is omega, this way. And now in delta t or in dt time, say, mm, see how I'm drawing these dotted lines. I'm very weak in drawing lines. Okay, so your conducting rod came up to this. So you're moving this way, okay? So what you're doing is that initially you're here. Now it took a journey of angular journey of d theta, and now you reached here. Okay, so the angular speed is in this case omega. So now what I do is this. Let me cut this first. So once we get this clarity in the figure, now we can move the figure. So let me move this figure to this end. Okay. So So once you have this, let's write some comments. Okay, so angle of rotation, say by the conductor, in time, in a very small time, say, or in time dt, is anyone okay? What is angular speed here? Generally, what is angular speed? Yeah,
Theta
angular
by
speed equal, yeah, omega is equal to the journey. It's making the journey, angular journey, that is distance, angular distance, d theta by say dt. Yeah. So angular distance by time, we can say like distance by time is speed always. So therefore, in this case, what I do, angle of rotation by the conductor in time dt. So I'm asking this one now. So we can say d theta is equal to omega dt. So this is my angular rotation, d theta. Okay. Now with this clarity, you have to go with this area of sector. Is it a sector now?
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
obviously it's area of sector. We can write like this: area of the sector swapped by the conductor, okay, in time dt is what?
Sir, d theta r square by 2.
Very good. So yeah, d theta r square by 2, it's correct. So in place of r we have here l, so we will take l square by 2. That's it. So very good. So excellent here. You have good fundamentals. Thank you. So that's enough. So just 1 minute, it's finished. Okay. So area of sector. Why I'm saying sector? Because it's taking a sector now. Okay, let me take the reference. This is my reference. My God, drawing this is a very difficult. Let me use these things. Okay, let me take this. So let me draw this. Okay, this is my sector. I'm taking the reference lines here. Okay, so area I'll show like this now. Okay, so this is my area. So I have a sector like this. Okay, this is my area, and you can see you have magnetic flux like this into the board, right? Magnetic flux is now into the board, the cross marks whatever into the board like that. You have both the light colors, you can't see, but think you have like that. So if you take a circle, where is my marker? Okay. If you take a circle like this and you have some radius, okay, let me take some radius r. This is my, okay, some radius r. Now what I do, the same radius r I'll take along this, the same length of this r I will project, or I will rest on this circumference. I'll rest on the circumference, the same r. This is the same r. This is called as 1 radian, right? This guy is 1 radian. Like that, you can take, you will get 6.28 radians. You can keep on move like that. You can keep on move like that. You have like, this is radian 1, radian 2, radian 3, and this, okay, this is like radian 3. It's like radian 3. This is like radian 1, radian 2. This is like 0.14 radian. Again, radian 1, radian 2, radian 3, 0.14. So therefore, 6.28 radians will get. So in due course, the sector, this is what the sector you have now. So this area is like a sector. Okay. So now you just tell me one point. If this radius, Okay, let me make things very simple. So if this is my theta, what is the area of the sector here now? Tell me in radians. If this is theta, what is the area of this sector? You just tell me. You take theta in radians and tell me. What
Sir,
is the area of
theta
this
by
guy?
2 pi into pi r square.
Very good. Theta by 2 pi multiplied by area of circle. Okay. So because out of 2 pi, if I start here like this, and to make one complete round, okay, I require how many radians here? 2 pi radians. Okay, and out of 2 pi, this is the theta. So out of 2 pi, so out of 2 pi theta journey you made already. So theta by 2 pi into the area of the circle will give this piece pi r square. So now with this intention, so we can say the area swapped by the conductor is say ds. Let's ds be the area swapped. This one area of the sector is now area swapped by the conductor ds. So ds is equal to what angle we have here? We submerge this, we have d theta angle now. So you have d theta. So from here to here it is 2 pi. So d theta by 2 pi. So what is radius of circle now?
Pi
It
l
is
square.
pi l square because length of the conductor is l. This is forming radius of circle pi l square. So therefore pi and pi ruled out, and your friend said this like this is said, that is half. So what you have, half l square d theta. Okay. Now what is the flux cut? What is the flux cut in time dt? Finally, what is the flux cut in time dt by the
dds.
conductor? That's it. So therefore, I'll write this as a last note. So flux cut in time dt, okay, by the conductor is d phi. Yeah, he's just got only the small flux here. So d phi is equal to, I just take b ds. Okay. So my ds is equal to, I have b as b, my ds is equal to l square by 2 d theta. Okay. So finally, my final touch is what? I want to find induced EMF. So EMF induced across the length, across the length. So across the length L is EMN is equal to, I know, d phi by theta. I take its magnitude now. So what I get now here? So yeah, because you see this is what your d phi. So d phi is equal to this. So finally from this, it's getting stuck. So I just take d phi. So d phi is equal to b l square by 2. But what is d theta?
Omega dt.
Yeah, d theta already we have omega dt. Now you bring this guy towards left hand side. So you have d phi by dt. And again you have same expression, okay? Half b omega l square. Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
So you have to understand by normal, I mean derivation, and again with Faraday's law. Yeah, so that you can appreciate what's happening behind, and that's it. So this is all about Faraday's law, and again what we will do in the next class, what we will see is that we will try to see Mossnell time varying magnetic fields. As of now, what we are doing is that we are fixing that magnetic induction in one direction, and just we are rotating the conductor. And next time what we do, we will time vary the magnetic induction. It's maybe going into the board and outside the board, into the board, outside the board. Okay, over certain time period, the magnetic induction will change in direction. So in that scenario, we will see how the EMF will induce. And also next class, what we will see, we will take a square loop, okay, in the magnetic induction like this, what you're seeing now, and we will rotate that square, I mean the square loop with respect to axis. Then we will see what here. If you rotate that, then we can see a time varying EMF. Okay, the induced EMF will be also time varying. That we will see. Followed by a few problems we will do. Then we will understand the displacement current density. That is how Maxwell's corrected Ampere's law. Ampere flopped. Ampere's law was a failure when we have a circuit with capacitor. So without capacitor, Ampere's law is correct. But if you take a circuit with capacitor, Ampere's law is a big failure. So how Maxwell came forward and he modified that, and that we will check. And after that, we will go to unit number 4. So when I go to unit number 4 and 5, we will give more high importance to problem solving, and I will mix a complete unit number 4 and 5, and I will go in single run. So that's it for today. Thank you.